So tēnā koutou katoa. No mai haere mai to the session about Deloitte. Ko tēnei tāku mihi ki ngā mana whenua o te rohi nei ko nai tuahuriri. Ka mihi hoki au ki ngā tohu o te rohi nei. So that's just a quick acknowledgement and respect to the local mana whenua nai tuahuriri and their landmarks. Pulavinaka, talopalava, maloalele, and warm Pacific greetings. My name's Nell, my pronouns are she and her, and I'm a career consultant with UC Careers who have organised this event with much support from the events team and particularly Aaron. So at UC Careers, you guys can get help with all things career related. So everything from figuring out what your dream job might be and helping you succeed in securing employment both while you're studying and when you've finished your degree. So we've got 40 minutes for the session today, and there'll be 10 minutes at the end for questions, but please feel free to pop any questions in the chat as we go through, and we'll have time at the end to address those. So I'm looking forward to hearing all about Deloitte. So welcome to Samantha and Millie. Thank you guys for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having us. Millie, I'm just wondering if you can open the slides. It's frozen at my end completely.
No, that's okay, it's just loading.
Thank you so much.
That's all right. It is loading, just quite slowly.
Sorry, we won't be a moment. We're just having a bit of a technical difficulty with our slides.
No worries.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Perfect, thank you. Sorry about the delay, and nothing like a complete computer freeze at all the wrong time.
I feel like it was worth the wait, Samantha, for that beautiful starting image.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm clearly not an orphan now. Well, welcome all, and thank you so much for the introduction. We're really looking forward to speaking with you today about all things Deloitte and to all business and arts students interested in a career here at Deloitte. My name's Sam, and I am the graduate recruiter here at Deloitte. So I recruit across all our graduate and intern positions across New Zealand. And involved in a lot of events, obviously, this month. So here to go through the whole process with you, for you to find a bit more out about our business unit, the application process, and for you to ask any questions that you may have from us. I do have my colleague Millie here with me as well, so I'll get her to do a brief intro as well, and then I'll move on to the next slide.
So I'm Millie. I am the junior advisor in our people and performance team in Christchurch. So essentially we're like internal HR. I'm kind of helping Sam do a little bit of the recruiting this year in the Christchurch office, which is cool. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Millie. And today we're going to have some representatives from different parts of the business. So these are the representatives that we are having today. And they will be speaking to you later, and I will get them to introduce themselves when we get to their business unit, and they will speak to kind of their journey as a graduate and what they do in their daily work life, so you can really understand it from their perspective as well. So who is Deloitte? So we are in 150 countries. We're in 7 regions throughout New Zealand. So there are multiple offices that you can work in. Sometimes you may be studying at Canterbury and you may be from out of Canterbury. So you either can stay in here and apply for jobs within here. We do have offices throughout all of New Zealand. We have over 1,500 employees, over 145 partners. And within your first year of learning, we do have over 80 hours of learning and development opportunities. So we do have a designated learning and development team where they do run regular sessions, and this is all aimed at supporting you throughout your first year and also in terms of your progression as well to kind of progress throughout the firm. And we work across 29 industry sectors. You are provided with a mentor from your first day as also an intern and a grad. So someone that you can ask questions to has kind of been in that same position as you, just a couple of years older. And we work with over 18,000 clients. We do offer qualifications. So depending on what you are studying and what you're wanting to go into, we do fund your chartered accountancy. So if that is something that you are doing, if you are studying accounting and on track for your chartered accounting qualification, you can apply to our private and audit business unit, and we will support that, as well as if you are going into tax, we do support your professional studies as well. And we do also have volunteering on offer as well. We had our recent intern cohort in Christchurch, which Millie facilitated a volunteering day with them. So there are lots of opportunities to do work beyond kind of the office and within like your set role. And there are also secondment opportunities as well. Obviously we are having, we do remain optimistic. We will be able to get that up and going in hopefully not too distant future. So that's just about a bit about who Deloitte is. So these are our business units. So I will get my colleagues to speak to those business units. So if I can get one of my colleagues who's on the call now just to do a brief intro to themselves and to talk about their business unit.
I'm just works now. I think it's fixed.
No, you're okay, Melissa. Cool. Thank you. I'll let Melissa discuss her business unit. Thank you.
Cool, thanks. Hey everybody, my name is Melissa. I'm in the consulting business unit. I joined Deloitte a little over 2 years ago. I actually didn't join as a grad. I studied accounting and comm law at Auckland University. And I worked at a couple of small accounting firms for a few years and realized that accounting really wasn't for me. So I made the jump over to consulting at Deloitte. So what is consulting? I think on the slide, it really covers it there. We really help businesses solve their problems, and we also help to sort of transform organizations. So the work we do is really, really broad, but we help to solve problems, and we do everything from like creating new strategies for a business, helping them manage their people and culture a bit better, and even implementing new technology. So it covers a real broad range, and like people in my team have studied everything from accounting to chemical engineering. So don't let what you've studied limit you in the roles you go for. I'll just hand over to my colleague Dan, who's also in consulting, and he'll share a little bit more.
Thanks, Melissa. So I'm Dan Vaughan. I recently joined Deloitte, so I only joined January this year, but it's been a great few weeks, just getting used to all the processes and working with the wider team. So I work in the within consulting, but in the operate function, where our responsibilities are focused on helping our IT clients with incidents, their issues, to support their systems, but not only just keep their businesses running and their platforms running, but also to look for continuous improvement opportunities where we can enhance their systems, save them time, money, effort, etc. And it's a great opportunity to sort of work closely with our clients and really build some strong working relationships that really help us sort of maintain our business and our reputation. And also, we're responsible for some pretty important areas of platforms across the country. The most notable one, we're responsible for supporting the bowel screening system that the Ministry of Health provides. So that's obviously critical to the health of New Zealanders. But yeah, it's a great place to work, a fantastic team, and it's really, really good working closely with clients on the day-to-day, but also how we can help them move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just get our next one of our next Deloitte representatives to share a bit about their business unit.
I can go next.
Thank you.
I'm Sophia. I'm in tax in Christchurch. The first thing that's maybe worth noting is that tax and private are separate, even though on the applications a lot of people say it's tax and private, but there's tax and private. So I did my degree in accounting and tax at UC, and then I did an internship, and then I got offered a grad role. So I started that this time last year. We have people in our team who did accounting, law, both. So tax, the majority of our clients are kind of like bigger corporates who have their own in-house accounting teams. And there are two kind of parts to tax. So there's like consulting and compliance. So compliance is what you'd normally think of like tax returns. So we help our clients meet their obligations. So we'll do like their tax returns, provisional tax, all that compliance sort of stuff. And then there's also consulting, which there are kind of 4 main teams in the Christchurch office. So there's the employment taxes. So there's fringe benefit tax and payroll, GES, which is like high net worth individuals. And then there's like GST and the research and development tax incentive team. So there's lots of different kind of areas you can specialize in. And where Christchurch is a little bit different to like the likes of Auckland is that we have, most people do corporate tax and then they specialize in a couple of areas, whereas Auckland, you kind of tend to focus on one. So that's kind of quite a cool thing. So I work in corporate tax and GST and the research and development tax incentive. And yeah, that's about it.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Sophia. And Jafia, I'm going to get you to go next.
Perfect. Hi guys, my name is Jafia. I'm working in the risk advisory team as a graduate consultant in the Christchurch office, and I'm mainly working within the TOR cluster. We call it technology and operations, and I'm focusing on the technology side of things for that. So when I joined, I am part of the current grad cohort, but I did graduate mid-year last year from UC as well. I did a Bachelor of Commerce in Operations and Supply Chain Management, and I had 2 minors, International Business and Information Systems. And when I applied for the position, I did sort of express that, if they do have openings, that I'd be willing to start earlier as well. And with Deloitte, they're quite flexible on their intake. So even if you express that you are sort of graduated mid-year, or if you're working alongside uni as well, they're quite open to just work out a flexible schedule in terms of that. So I started in October last year, and now I've sort of started on with the other grad cohort as well as of last week. So we've had sort of like a head start, and also got to be a part of the grad cohort and like go through the induction process. But a bit of risk advisory. We have 3 main clusters within it. So we've got cyber, and then we've got forensics and the technology and operational side of things as well. And with the risk, it is a relatively smaller team compared to all the other business units we have, but it is quite broad in the areas or like offerings we have. And we do work quite along with the audit teams or other consulting teams as well. And basically what we look at, or with what I'm doing, we focus on the audits and like financial risks or non-financial risks they potentially occur for businesses. And we work with a diverse range of clients just to give them advice or look at their controls and measures in place and see what the tests would be needed to be performed to see of, you know, what they can improve to then make sure that it won't affect the financial statements. And it could be even non-financial risks like health and safety. So yeah, that's something what we do within risk advisory. Yeah, but there's heaps of resources available online as well. So I definitely have suggest you all to have a look online and read more into what each individual cluster offers and see what is best suited for you all.
Thank you so much for that. Kyle?
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, good day everyone. I'm Kyle. I'm an analyst in the corporate finance team in Wellington. I started as a grad in 2020, went to UC, did my BCom and my master's there. So corporate finance at Deloitte is actually quite broad. We've got these multiple little sub offerings under the broad term of corporate finance. So firstly, we've got our economics team. And so they'll go out and they'll produce these macro analysis reports, which will look at the main leading indicators of economics. So that tends to be GDP, inflation, and unemployment. Essentially, that's similar to what you'll see from the banks like ANZ, BNZ, ASB, Westpac, etc. But they'll also look at these cost, benefit, and health studies. For instance, they're doing one for the National Foundation of Deaf at the moment. Next, you've got commercial advisory. So under that commercial advisory, you've got infrastructure advisory. So our team recently, a few months ago, looked at the Auckland Rail bid template to see who would come out on top as the rail operator. Under that, you've got economic advisory as well. So they form a range of business cases, largely for government. So at the moment, they're doing the Let's Get Wellington Moving case. You've got financial modelling, which is typically we'll do financial models for Oceania Healthcare, looking at their cash flows. We modelled MetLife Care's cash flows for the sale of themselves to EQT, a Swedish private equity company. We've also modelled the impacts of COVID-19 for the government as well. You've got valuations as well. So technically we'll do valuations if a company looks to sell, sometimes for audit purposes and sometimes for an employee share scheme. Recent clients I've worked on have been Genesis, Trustpower, and Orion for the Christchurch City Council. And lastly, you've got M&A/TS. So sometimes we represent the buyer or the seller, depending on how we're engaged. Some of those clients we've worked on have been, for instance, Nestle, the Royal Bank of Canada. We've worked on the Mercury Trustpower transaction, Westpac Life, ANZ for UDC, and a bit of Fonterra work as well. But yeah, happy to answer any questions you guys have at the end.
Thank you so much for that. And I think we've just got one more representative, so I'll get them to speak now about their business unit.
G'day guys, my name's George West. I work for the private team in Christchurch. I graduated UC as well doing accounting finance, interned at Deloitte in 2019 and then started as a graduate at the start of last year, 2021. So I've been here for just over a year. In terms of what private does, so you get a really good opportunity, chance to gain sort of a valuable knowledge in a general business sense, but also as well giving you specific knowledge around different forms of business compliance like GSTs, POA, income tax, the sort of things that you'll need to do if you're operating your business. Businesses out in the community, and seeing how they cope with daily struggles, as well as some of their long-term strategies that they might have for success. So, yeah.
Cool, thank you so much for that. I think it might be just a bit laggy. Hopefully it's just for me and not for everyone else. Love some connectivity issues. Next we have Alistair just to talk about his business unit.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm Alistair, just representative for Assurance and Advisory, for us known as Audit. So I interned in the summer 2019 in the same cohort group as George and Sophie, and then came back as a grad last year, and then just ticked off that 1 year mark as our grads had just started a couple of weeks ago. So pretty much, yeah, as per the slide there, we're spending pretty much a big chunk of our time at the client. So currently I'm at St. Margaret's School doing the audit there, but that's a pretty cool thing and like a highlight of the job. So within the Christchurch team, we get to go travel to like Queenstown, Lennon, Nelson, Picton, and then one group also gets to do an Australia trip. So that's always good to swap. I mean, especially if you're working from home or in the office all the time, just switching from the client sites and then also building a relationship and networking with them. In terms of audit, we're very team-based, and with that, there's a lot of awesome team events going on. So we've done like escape rooms and like bowling and stuff, and that's just to celebrate before busy season or just willy-nilly out of there. The partners will put something on for us. Favorite saying in our business unit is one team, one dream, and so we kind of have each other's back, keep going along that way, and you always learn from the high uppers. And then it's quite nice now with the grads starting in a few days with us that we'll get to show a bit of our experience and show a bit of guidance to them. Another cool thing about audit is just the whole wide range of industries that you get to jump into. So I've worked on Meridian, so electricity side. Other graduates have worked in healthcare with Ryman, and then I'm looking at like an Untitled Trust at the moment and the fund. But yeah, essentially wrapping up, the easiest way to say audit is technically where the accounts policed. So just making sure that the client's accounting records are accurate at the end of the day and that those financials on their annual report is going to be accurate for those shareholders.
Great, thank you so much everyone for speaking about your business units. Appreciate that your students might have some questions for you. So now is an opportunity for any questions that you may have for any of my colleagues. If you can put them in the chat function and I can read them out to them. Cool, so we have a question from Angus. Angus has asked, what sort of IT related stuff can you do in consulting? So
I can take that one. So I actually work in the Oracle team, which is quite within consulting, which is quite technology focused. So we implement a whole the whole suite of Oracle products. So we have different roles, like you can be a functional person like me. So that means you're setting up the system from the front end. You don't necessarily need to be a developer. And we do have some software developers as well that do stuff in the back end and build integrations and that sort of thing. And yeah, Oracle is just one of the many systems we implement at Deloitte. We've also got an SAP team. There's another team called Finance and Performance, which also implements some project and budgeting software. And again, there'll be people that do things in the front end and people that do the back end integrations and development in all of those teams. So there's a really broad range of different software, Salesforce, Workday, you name it, we do it. Yeah.
Thank you, Melissa. Cool. And then we have a question from Katie. Is there the possibility for mentorship towards chartered accountancy in any of the business units? We have someone from audit. Are they able to speak for this, please? Cool. If not, I can just cover it. So you do have basically, if you come through with us on an internship, you are provided with a buddy who would have gone through what you're going through. So you have that buddy for your internship, and then if you're offered a grad role, you also have that buddy, and that buddy is within your team. So if you are doing your chartered accountancy, you will be in either our private or our audit team generally. Or sometimes in risk, we have accountants too, and though your mentor will have done the chartered accountancy. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, I think I'll add into that as well.
Yeah,
I know,
you.
yes, because even within risk, it depends on your the degree you've done as well. We do get quite a lot of people either doing science degrees or accounting degrees, and if CA is something that's on your mind, and if you do want to study towards it, that is a qualification that can be worked into as well. And apart from that, you do have other qualifications like CISA, and you could basically just look up several qualifications and the ones that Deloitte offers as well. So it does expand beyond CA as well. But yeah, you can do that if you are in different business units. I know a couple of them have done it in risk advisory as well. Yeah.
Thank you. And we've got a question from Lois. Is it a big deal if I haven't had any experience as an intern but am applying for grad roles? No. Absolutely not. So when we open applications on Monday, they are for grads and interns, and it's absolutely no, it's not a big deal if you haven't done an internship at all. We review all aspects of your application, and I will go through that shortly after this slide, our application process. Saxon, could you elaborate a bit more on the learning and training opportunities available at Deloitte? We'll also go through that as well a bit later, but if any of my colleagues want to briefly share about their opportunities that they've had just outside their main role in terms of learning and development, feel free to jump in now too.
I'm happy to just chip in about it.
Thank you.
Because private and tax, or tax and private both do tax skills, which is like an internal Deloitte training program, which is embedded in your CA program. So that's something that runs for the first kind of 6 months when you start as a graduate, and that's been really, really good to build a foundation. Yeah, it's a really great training program that we've all done, and now we're continuing on for the rest of our CA. So yeah, that's a bit about that.
Oh, thank you. And Aaron has asked, what is the work-life balance like at Deloitte? It all depends on the business unit that you are in, and I'm sure my colleagues can probably speak for this as well, that you, in different parts of the year, different business units will experience busier periods. So there will be times that there'll be times that you're busier than other times, and it all depends on the work that you are doing at the time. I might just ask also one of my colleagues from the business units just to speak from their work perspective.
Yeah, so Dan here, from my personal perspective, I think that the balance.
you go.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, just from my perspective within Consulting Operate, there's just reiterating that point there, that yes, there's peaks and troughs in terms of demand that we work around. And I think Deloitte have a very healthy view on making sure that there's a good balance between that, and that time is effectively compensated to address any additional workload.
Thank you for that. Let's go back. And Hunter, are part of training opportunities at Deloitte. So we do fund profs if you are going into, so basically often if you're going to tax, we do fund profs, or if you're going into a business unit where you'd be utilizing that within your role, you can fund it. But if you are going into a business unit outside of tax, it is just based on business discretion, and kind of putting forward like a case for business need for you to do that. But that's part of it. And generally, if you are doing that, we'd try and pair you up with someone that had done that too. Lucy, do you have people with human resources degree in the consulting department? Yes, we do. We do have within consulting, we do have designated kind of like HR capital offering as well. So we do have people with HR degrees. And I also just want to touch on that we do at Deloitte consider candidates from all academic backgrounds as well. And I will go into this, but that we do have a find your fit quiz on our website. So you can kind of put through what you studied, and then it kind of generates what business units you'd be able to apply for based off your academic pathway. So yeah, there are opportunities for everyone. And then in terms of GPAs, we do consider all aspects of the application. So when you do apply with us, you do submit a cover letter, your CV and your transcript. So we do take into account like various work experiences, societies that you are part of as well. And then in terms of grades, normally we're looking for like a B- minimum average, but obviously like if say you had like a bad semester, or you there's like mitigating circumstances, they're all taken into account as well. And there's obviously opportunity to pick up your GPA if you had kind of at one semester maybe you didn't do as well. So just want to emphasize that as well. We're not going to think, oh, that person did got bad grades one semester. It is about your application as a whole, so please don't be discouraged from applying if you think you may fall into that category. And we have a question. My question is more of a general one. I'm an international student hoping to work within New Zealand both during and after my degree. What are the opportunities for internships and grade roles for someone who is not a citizen and looking for residency? So basically, as a student, you have your student visa. We accept like a post grad work visa, which is 3 years, which you're able to apply for, and that is sufficient to be able to do that. So, and if you do have any kind of individual questions, you have to go, you can seek advice, your own individual advice based on your visa situation as well. But we do accept the 3-year post-grad work visa. And does one necessarily need to be a CPA to join Deloitte? No, that's not the case. And then, is there any opportunity to work on climate change and environmental issues with a financial engineering and economics degree? Yes, there is. We do have a sustainability role that we are going to be advertising for. So, and that is a newly created grad role. So we do have that. And there's also opportunities of kind of working within energy as well. So definitely go on our graduate website and you can look into that. And when we post all our applications on the 7th of March, you'll be able to see the roles that we do sustainability work within as well. So I hope that answers that question. Kyle, we have a question for you. Is the forecasting modelling side of projects team-based? If so, what does the structure look like?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, good question. So generally, all of our project teams, regardless of whether they're modelling, transactions, or advisory, they'll be all team-based. So generally, you'll have an analyst, a manager / associate director, and a partner on those jobs. Sometimes the smaller projects, you'll work directly with a partner. Generally, you'll have 3 or 4 people per team.
Well, thank you, Kyle. Are there internships available in Wellington in the corporate finance side of Deloitte? Yes, there is. We are advertising that also on all our roles are being advertised on Monday, and there are 2 different corporate finance jobs you'll see in our Wellington office for both internships and graduates. And any tips to stand out in the interview and assessment centre? I'm going to go to my next slide now because it's going to go into those questions. So this is, just reiterate, we open our applications on Monday, the 7th of March, and you can apply on our Deloitte graduate website. We also use Grade New Zealand, which our roles will be on, and the New Zealand Uni Talent Hub, your university. So we are posting our roles on various places as well as Summer of Tech. So this is where you'll find those roles. So this is what our graduate website looks like. We have updated it, so we have a lot of stories from our recent grads. We have an FAQ section, which will be especially helpful for kind of a lot of our application questions about applications and criteria. And as mentioned before, we also have our Find Your Fit quiz. So if you want to find out more information about what business unit that you think you'd be a best fit for of what you've studied, you can do that quiz. At the bottom right, we also have a chat bot, which is an automated chat function called Bot. So if you do have any questions, you can ask the chat bot, and it generally has an answer to it. If not, you'll be directed to someone in my team to give you an answer to your question. In terms of the recruitment process, this is what it looks like. So when applications open on Monday, you will see our job postings, and you will apply for when you apply for our role, you will have to provide your CV, your cover letter, and your academic transcript. I appreciate that all of you probably on this call are current students. You don't have to provide an official copy of your academic transcript. An unofficial one's fine as long as it's downloaded in a PDF format from your uni portal, and it clearly states kind of information about you and like your student number and your name and everything, just so it's an identifying transcript to you. So that would be really great if you could do that with your cover letter as well. And if you can also just ensure that you have been thorough and proofread all of that. That's also really helpful to us because we do receive over 3,000 applications. Then once you have applied, we go through your applications, and we just check based on like eligibility to work in New Zealand, which you all should be able to do because you are currently studying in New Zealand, and as discussed before, you can apply for that post work study 3-year visa, and you'll be put forward off your transcript, cover letter, and CV. If we go screen that, the next stage is the online immersive assessment, which is testing. So this is kind of like behavioural logical reasoning testing. It's nothing you can prepare for. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour. I recommend doing it in a really uninterrupted space, somewhere that you can't get distracted, somewhere that someone's not likely to walk in, and we recommend doing it in one sitting because it's more about just answering the questions naturally as they come to you, and not trying to think too much about what you think we want to see. It's more what you instantly would answer. And if you are successful in the testing stage, the next round is our video interview. Some of you may have done a video interview before, some of you may not have. So you're asked about 4 questions, and these are specific to the business unit that you are applying for. And these are questions around, and it's for us to assess kind of your motivation for a career at Deloitte, why you want to apply to that business unit, perhaps a bit about yourself and what you've studied, but it all varies depending on the business unit you're applying for, the sort of questions. As per this like flow chart, just do your research, make sure you understand what goes on in your business unit, and perhaps anything recently that's come up in the news on your business unit or Deloitte, that's always helpful to have. And if you are successful in that video interview, you will be progressed to the next stage, which is an interview. And it, depending on the business unit, it's either a 1-to-1 interview or a 2-interview process. And this mostly will be done via Zoom. And you will be contacted quickly with these details. So it is, we do ask that you do complete the testing and the video interview as soon as possible due to the high number of applications. The quicker you do it, the quicker you are able to move to the next stage if you are successful in that. So that is a bit about our recruitment process. And so someone asked before, kind of like, why Deloitte? So we at Deloitte, we review your performance every 6 months, including when you are on parental leave. We do have flexible working options. Yeah, appreciate that. Obviously, sometimes people have other commitments outside of work, and we do our best to work around that, especially when people are doing their chartered accountancy. We do allow for flexibility around that and leave around that to focus on those studies, as well as appreciate being a grad in itself is quite a big transition outside of university. And we also at Deloitte offer a social club, outings and sports teams for you to join. I know we have like a touch, we have football, we have a netball team. And we also have lots of other groups you can join as well. And we provide access to offerings to upskill and empower our people, such as mentoring, virtual learning sessions, and e-learnings. And also, as mentioned before, we have study leave, volunteer leave, and cultural leave. So those are just a few things about what we offer. And now I will just open the floor to any questions. I see there is one question here just based on what I just discussed. Ideally not a screenshot of your transcript, ideally like download like a PDF format. So it's like very clear, like all your grades and like your details. But if you can do one screenshot that encompasses like your entire study, that would be great. Sometimes I find if it can delay your application if we're having to reach out to you to ask you to provide additional information just due to the volume of applications we are receiving. So I just ask, like, if you have time this weekend, I would am planning to apply on Monday when we open. I would be trying to get your CV, your cover letter and your transcript all together, and that's what you need to apply for a role with us. And then you are just asked a few questions when you make your application around things like right to work and a bit of background information just for the application process. So that's just really everything that we require at the initial stages. So if anyone does have any questions, any further questions to anyone in our business, any of my colleagues in our business units or anything on the recruitment side, please let me know. Conscious that we are having to wrap up this session in the next few minutes. So would I need to do one application for 3 different offices around the country or 3 applications? Okay, so basically we do ask that you only apply for 1 role in 1 location, so 1 application in total. This is just due to, as mentioned before, we experience an exceptionally high volume of applications, and for us, it's important for us to know where your motivation lies. So if you're applying for like, say an audit and a consulting role, we're not actually sure what you want to do. If you are unsure, please visit our website. Please go to the Find Your Fit quiz. And also, we are having an open day tomorrow, which is all virtual, and you can sign up via our website, and that will that gives you a brief, and it's by business unit, and you can hear from each of our business units about the work that they do and an opportunity to ask more questions. If you are interested in different business units or you're not sure what location, we will have representatives from various locations that you can ask those questions to. So that is also a great opportunity for you to learn more about Deloitte. Also, I would recommend if you do go tomorrow, it's something great to put in your cover letter as well, because it shows your engagement with Deloitte. So that's just just to reiterate, one application. And if you are in your second to last year of study and say you are in Christchurch at the moment and you're wanting to intern in Christchurch, but you're not sure as a grad, you might say, well, Auckland or Wellington, that is absolutely fine. If you intern our Christchurch office and you are offered a grad role, that is a discussion you can have then if you want to be considered for another office. We can be flexible there. It's just a stage of having another interview with that location because they are different teams. Will there be competency-based questions in the video interview? Yes. So it just depends on what business unit you are applying to, but there will be a range of different questions. Yes. So I would prepare for all, and also by preparing for your video interview, if you are successful in getting to a in-person Zoom interview, those are all questions that can come up there too. But they're not designed to trick you, it's just designed for us to get to know a bit more about you. Does anyone have any other questions? Well, if no one else has any other questions, I just want to say a big thank you for jumping on our presentation today to the Business and Art students at Canterbury. We work a lot with the university, and we've got a lot of great talent come through from your university and as interns and grads with us, and not just in our Christchurch office, also throughout New Zealand. And we do really encourage you to come to our open day tomorrow if you are interested in finding out any more information about us. I will be on there if you want to have a further conversation. Yeah, feel free to connect with me and my colleagues on LinkedIn as well. And I just want to say a big thank you to my colleagues for jumping on this call, giving up their time just to speak to you guys all about their business units as well. It wasn't that long ago that they were in your shoes. So I think they're a really valuable asset to have on this call. So thank you so much to my team as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Samantha and team. It's been really great to have you all here today. And I reiterate what Samantha said. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a really good comprehensive cover of some really good information from Deloitte. I'd really encourage you all to attend that open day tomorrow as well. I can't put enough emphasis on how valuable it is to show that engagement with a company you're interested in. Also, there's tons of really useful resources for you guys on the UC Careers website to help you with every stage of that recruitment. So we've got an amazing CV checker that helps you to understand how different application tracking softwares might work. We've got an amazing AI tool to help you practice interviews, and there's tons of practice on there as well for your psychometric tests and assessment centre type activities. So jump on there and have a practice. Deloitte has another session coming up just at 1 o'clock. So if you've got any more questions that you haven't had a chance to ask here, then feel free to sign in again at 1 o'clock using the link on our website, or in the event for the careers fair. And as Samantha said, they've got an open day as well, which I've just seen the link pop up in the chat, so grab that. Awesome. Thanks very much, Samantha and team.
No, I've just dropped the law session in the chat for anyone that's still here.
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
very much.
I'll be jumping on the law session, and also we have our presentation tonight. So if anyone signed up to that, we will be able to answer any more questions that you have then too. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great
Thank
afternoon.
you. You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.